All right, so you guys sent in a pretty interesting question this time. Could a robot actually beat an NBA player? Like seriously beat a pro on the court?
It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, right?
Yeah, exactly. But when you start thinking about it, especially with all the stuff you sent about how fast AI and robotics are advancing, that article from Wired was particularly mind-blowing. And then you think about how unbelievably athletic these NBA players are. It's like this crazy clash of cutting-edge tech, like the peak of human physical ability. So yeah, this deep dive is all about unpacking that question, diving into what's possible, what the challenges are, all that based on the really cool mix of articles and research you guys sent our way.
And I think what's really interesting is that, as all your sources kind of point out, this isn't just some far-off fantasy. AI is already a part of sports in some pretty significant ways, and that's laying the foundation for even bigger changes down the road. The material you sent paints a pretty vivid picture of how this whole landscape is evolving.
Okay, so let's get right into that. A bunch of the articles you sent talk about how AI is already being used in basketball, like right now. It's not just some futuristic thing, is it?
Not at all. One of the most important areas, as several of your sources highlighted, is player performance analysis. Think about it. AI algorithms are crunching through mountains of data, like every dribble, every pass, the arc of every shot. And they can spot patterns and inefficiencies that human analysts might miss entirely. For example, you sent that study from Sports Analytics Quarterly. Remember how it described how one team used AI to identify a little quirk in a player's pre-shot routine that was messing with their free throw percentage?
Yeah, they found like a 7% improvement just by looking at the data differently, right?
Yeah.
It's wild.
It is. It's like having this super-powered microscope for the game. And it's not just about looking back at past games either. Your sources also touched on how AI is being used to help players improve right now.
Right, right. Like it's actually shaping how players are training and developing.
Exactly. We're seeing AI-powered training tools popping up that can tailor workouts to a player's specific strengths and weaknesses. Like, remember that piece about VR simulations? It showed how players can use VR to practice making decisions in these really realistic game scenarios without actually putting wear and tear on their bodies.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. They were saying how some of the younger players are using that stuff all the time.
And some of the research papers you sent even talked about AI that can basically act as virtual coaches. They can give real-time feedback during practice and even adjust how intense the workout is based on how the player is doing.
So these AI systems aren't just telling coaches what happened in the past, they're actually helping players get better in the present.
Precisely.
And this isn't just limited to basketball, is it? That article from TechCrunch made it clear that AI is showing up all over the place in the sports world.
That's right. To understand the bigger picture, we need to look at what's happening in other sports. Like, remember that article you sent about those robotic arms they're using in baseball? They can pitch with pinpoint accuracy way beyond what any human could do. And of course, there's chess, where AI has been dominating the best human players for years.
It's insane how good AI is at chess.
It really is. And those examples, like your sources showed, really demonstrate how AI is excelling in anything that involves complicated calculations, strategic thinking, and even fine-tuned physical control.
Okay, so we see the AI brains getting smarter and the robots themselves getting more and more capable. But when we talk about NBA level basketball, the athleticism of those players is just mind blowing. Can a robot, like right now or even in the near future, actually compete physically with guys like LeBron or Giannis?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? A lot of your articles stress just how demanding pro basketball is physically. We're talking elite speed, incredible agility to change direction in a split second, and explosive power for jumping, rebounding, battling for position. As it stands, robots still struggle to recreate that entire package.
Yeah, I mean, you've got guys like, I don't know, Russell Westbrook, who are just constantly flying around the court.
Right, maintaining balance at high speed, being energy efficient enough to play a whole game at that intensity, and having the durability to withstand the physicality, those are all huge engineering hurdles.
Totally. These guys are taking hits all game long and just keep going. I can't picture a robot getting knocked down in the paint and popping right back up to play defense. Not with the tech we have now, at least.
Yeah, not yet. But it's important to remember how quickly robotics is advancing. We talked about Tesla's Optimus and Boston Dynamics Atlas. They've shown some really impressive stuff in terms of walking, running, and handling objects. They're not designed to play basketball, but their progress, those YouTube videos you sent were pretty wild, suggests that the gap between what humans and machines can do physically is shrinking. It might be a while before they're on the court, but the trend is definitely there.
So maybe we won't see a robot dropping threes over LeBron next year, but it's not totally out of the realm of possibility down the line. It makes you wonder about specific basketball skills, though. Could we ever see a robot with the hops to dunk like Zion, or shoot as smoothly as Steph Curry, or make those crazy no-look passes like Jokic?
I think those are great benchmarks for how difficult this really is. Your sources on biomechanics and motor control, they explained how copying those incredibly nuanced movements takes more than just raw physical strength. You need insanely precise coordination and almost an instinctual understanding of physics. Like, Curry's shot isn't just about arm strength, it's this perfectly timed sequence of movements throughout his entire body. And Jokic's passes, they often depend on reading subtle cues and making decisions in a fraction of a second based on where everyone is on the court. AI can maybe learn the mechanics by analyzing tons of data and running simulations, but truly replicating that fluidity, that adaptability, that art, if you will, that humans bring to those actions, that's a whole other level of challenge.
It really highlights how basketball isn't just about physical skills, there's a real artistry to it. And speaking of that human element, the mental side of the game seems just as important as the physical, right?
Absolutely. At the highest level of basketball, the mental game can be the difference maker. Think about the pressure of a close game with the clock winding down, making the right call with the game on the line, having the creativity to pull off a game-changing move out of nowhere. And then there's the team dynamics, communication, that almost telepathic connection between players. It's all crucial.
This is where it gets really fascinating. Can AI, no matter how advanced, really copy that human element? Can an algorithm develop real intuition or have that flash of brilliance that leads to a totally unexpected game-winning play?
Now we're getting into some really deep questions about the nature of intelligence itself. AI is great at processing info and spotting patterns incredibly fast, but the consensus right now is that replicating human intuition, emotions, and consciousness is still a huge hurdle. You sent an article from Cognitive Science today that talked about this. It said that adapting to totally new and unpredictable situations often takes a kind of understanding and flexibility that current AI, as impressive as it is, just hasn't reached yet.
It makes you wonder about coaching, too. We've seen coaches like Phil Jackson and Greg Popovich build these legendary dynasties. Could an AI coach, even with all the data in the world, match their ability to motivate players, build a team that really clicks, and make those crucial in-game adjustments based on just gut feeling?
It's a great point. An AI coach could definitely crunch a ton of data, figure out the best strategies, and predict what the other team might do with pretty high accuracy. But, like those interviews with coaches you included pointed out, coaching is also about understanding people, building trust with players, and being able to change strategies on the fly based on the flow of the game and how everyone's feeling. It's a big open question whether AI could truly pull off that level of interpersonal skill and leadership.
So we've looked at the physical limitations and the complexities of the mental game. Now let's really go there. Imagine that someday it actually happens. A team of super advanced AI-powered robots goes head-to-head with a team of the best NBA players. What do you think that would look like? What would be the strengths of each side?
Try to picture that matchup is pretty mind-blowing. On the robot side, you'd expect almost flawless execution of the fundamentals. Perfect shooting, laser-precise passes, and a level of consistency that humans, who get tired and have off days, just can't match. Plus, they wouldn't get tired, so they could theoretically play at their peak the entire game.
So it sounds like the robots have a pretty clear advantage there, right?
Would seem so. But the humans would still have that edge in creativity and adaptability. They could try to exploit weaknesses in the robot's programming that no one saw coming, come up with plays on the spot to counter whatever the robots are doing, and use their understanding of human psychology to try and get in the robots' heads. And a lot of your sources emphasize this too, that drive to win, that willingness to push through pain and fatigue, that's a powerful force that's really hard to program into an algorithm.
So it's like this classic battle, raw processing power and perfect execution versus human ingenuity and grit. And that opinion piece from The Atlantic you sent, it brought up some serious ethical questions too. Like, should we even be thinking about letting robots compete in human sports?
Yeah, that's a huge ethical dimension to consider.
Yeah.
If robots got to the point where they were consistently beating human athletes, it could change the whole meaning and appeal of sports. Would it still be exciting to watch if the outcome was basically predetermined by technology? It raises questions about fairness, the spirit of competition, and what we really value in athletic achievement.
It really makes you think about what sport actually is. Is it just about being the best physically and mentally, or is there something uniquely human that would be lost if machines took over.
Exactly. And as AI and robotics keep advancing, these ethical questions, which came up in a bunch of those articles you sent about the future of AI, are only going to become more relevant in all aspects of our lives, not just sports.
Well, this has been a really cool deep dive into whether a robot could beat an NBA player. We talked about how AI is already being used in basketball, how crazy demanding the sport is physically and mentally, and we even imagined what a human machine showdown on the court might look like, even if it's still a ways off.
And looking at all the stuff you sent, it's clear that this isn't just about a hypothetical basketball game. It's a way to look at how our understanding of athleticism, intelligence, and the limits of both human and machine capabilities is changing.
Totally. And on that note, here's something to think about. As AI and robotics keep getting better, how might our definition of what it means to be a great athlete have to change in the next few decades? Will we need entirely new ways to judge performance in a world where humans and machines might be sharing not just the workplace, but maybe even the playing field? Definitely something to chew on even after this deep dive is over.